Good evening and thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Nwachuku. This is the World News at 6 and here are the top stories. Impeached South Korean president taken to detention center for questioning. President Tinubu Shetima governors celebrate Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Military bans drone use in northeast Nigeria amid security concerns. Mahdi Shehu arrested again by DSS. APC speaks on Tinubu's involvement in Obasanjo's impeachment. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. Now, impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol has been taken to a detention center today, where he will spend the night before undergoing further questioning over his short-lived imposition of martial law. Yoon was escorted to the Seoul Detention Center in Uwang, 22 kilometers south of Seoul, after being questioned for over 10 hours at the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials in nearby Gwacheon. The questioning of President Yoon ended at 9:40 p.m. according to the CIO. Yoon refused to answer questions regarding his declaration of martial law on December 3. He will also be questioned further tomorrow before investigators file for a warrant formally to arrest him within 48 hours from the time they detained him at the center today. Yoon, the first sitting president to be arrested, was detained by investigators at his official residence in central Seoul after the first attempt to detain him in early January failed due to a standoff with presidential security personnel. The questioning sessions were held inside an interrogation room at the CIO headquarters and led by Deputy CIO Chief Lee Jang-sung, amongst others, with one of Yoon's lawyers present. The questioning was not recorded on video due to Yoon's objections. Yoon, who is suspended from duty following his impeachment by the National Assembly on December 14, faces charges of insurrection and abuse of power. He is accused of sending troops to the National Assembly after declaring martial law on the 9th of December 3 to stop lawmakers from voting down. Now, on the home front, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, and governors of the 36 states, along with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, have joined Nigerians to mark the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. The Armed Forces Remembrance Day is a yearly event used to pay honor to the sacrifices of men and women of the Armed Forces, Navy, and Air Force, to pay tribute to military men who paid the ultimate price. Marked every 15th of January, President Tinubu, who was represented at the ceremonial ground at Eagle Square in Abuja, lauded the efforts of the military in protecting the territorial integrity of the nation. The president promised to prioritize the welfare of the military and support their fight against insecurity with modern equipment. The wreath-laying ceremony in Abuja had in attendance Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented President Tinubu, also Senate President Godswill Akpabio, the Chief Justice of Nigeria Kudirat Kekere-Ekun, the Deputy Speaker House of Representatives Benjamin Kalu, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, the Minister of Defense and his state counterpart Muhammad Badaru and Bello Matawali, respectively. Now, the Joint Task Force of the military in the Northeast, Operation Hadinkai, has issued a ban on the use of unmanned aerial vehicles, commonly known as drones, in the region. You'll recall very recently, VOP News gathered that the directive given by Air Commodore UU Idris, Air Component Commander of Operation Hadinkai, recently disclosed that there are growing security concerns related to unauthorized drone operations in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states. Now, in a signal obtained very recently, the Air Component Commander expressed concerns over the unregulated use of drones by both government agencies and private individuals. Idris highlighted the severity of anyone who goes against these recent export order. Idris highlighted that these unauthorized operations could pose serious security threats, especially given the potential misuse by non-state actors and criminal elements. He further wrote in the statement, "The proliferation of drones for domestic and commercial purposes has led to serious security concerns. These concerns mainly stem from the possible use by non-state actors and criminal elements for subversive and offensive activities." Idris also noted that drones had been used against military targets and critical national infrastructure in other parts of the world, heightening the risk associated with their use in the region. The ban follows a recent incident on January 7, 2025, when a passenger on an NGO flight from Maiduguri to Mangano was intercepted with a drone during a search at the helipad. In a very recent development, popular activist and political commentator Mahdi Shehu has been arrested again by security officials reportedly affiliated with the Department of State Services. VOP News gathered that Mahdi was taken into custody by unidentified security personnel at his clinic located in Unguwar Dosa at approximately 10:11 a.m. There's no official announcement from security agencies. EC Sheye Oladejo said Obasa's impeachment showed that the parliament and all arms of government enjoy independence in Lagos State. He said his impeachment is not independence in Lagos State. He said his impeachment is not a party affair. It's the entire business of the House of Assembly. It has nothing to do with the party. And still on the world news at 6, in a very recent development, whereby the Labour Party has officially disclosed that it does not matter what anybody says. As concerning it, the Obedient movement, even if they leave the party, will definitely not affect the Labour Party. We'll be speaking further in this. Let's take a very short break. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. There are indications some argued supporters of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, referred to as Obedient Movement, have concluded plans to exit the party to promote another political platform ahead of the 2027 elections. In a statement yesterday, said the development would not be felt by the party due to the strong forces behind the Labour Party Directorate of Mobilization and Integration. Oswald noted that with the current happenings in the Obedient Movement, the true intention of those who kicked against the establishment of the DMI had been made public. In June 2024, the Labour Party created the Directorate of Mobilization and Integration and appointed Marcel as the Director General. Oswald added that with DMI's extended grassroots across Nigeria, it would be extremely challenging for the factionalized Obedient Movement to promote any other political platform. He said DMI's strategic and innovative approach had undoubtedly raised Labour Party's banner as a force to reckon with within the political environment. According to him, every malicious attempt to bring Labour Party to disrepute has been effectively neutralized, leaving the gang of traitors confused. They have been fighting tooth and nail to see that the directorate is rendered inoperative because they feel it rivals their goals. Instead of coming up with strategic ideas on how to make the faction under their control work, they are preoccupied with dirty plans of how to bring someone else down. I have never seen such a level of callousness being exhibited by someone else. This particular situation, bitter feud with the Femi Otedola, the chairman of First Bank PLC, over a $225.8 million loan. According to reports, a federal high court in Port Harcourt granted an order to arrest and detain the crude oil cargo on board the floating production storage and offloading vessel Tamara Tokoni. On January 9, Justice E.A. Obile issued a ruling mandating the detention of the crude oil cargo aboard the FPSO vessel Tamara Tokoni until the defendants provide a satisfactory guarantee from a first-class Nigerian bank amounting to $19.7 million along with interest and costs. The court further instructed the Nigerian Navy, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, and the Harbour Master of the Nigerian Ports Authority to assist in executing the arrest order for the Tamara Tokoni vessel, in order to ensure effective enforcement by maintaining surveillance and conducting regular patrols around the crude oil cargo to prevent any dissipation by General Hydrocarbons Limited pending compliance with the court's directive. Now, we're going to be speaking with Mr. Elvis Elimihele. Mr. Elvis Elimihele is a political, national, and social affairs commentator. One of the questions that we want to ask Mr. Elvis Elimihele is concerning the Obidient movement having to create their own political party ahead of the elections in 2027. Also, there are indications that there is a possibility that beyond what Nigerians already know, that possibly Peter Obi may have decided to move along with the Obidient movement. However, there are still concerns as to what happened to the Labour Party for it becoming extinct, especially as a thought force in the 2023 elections. Mr. Elvis Elimihele, good evening and thank you for joining us on the World News at 6.
Good evening, Esther. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, but you don't sound very loud. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me too?
Hello?
I can hear you, Mr. Elvis. Can you hear me now? Mr. Elvis, I can hear you absolutely. Can you hear me? Hello? All right, let's try to reestablish connection with Mr. Elvis Elimihele. It seems he cannot hear us, and obviously possibly there's a situation with the network. So while we try to establish connection with Mr. Elvis, like I was earlier saying before he picked the call the first time, we want to understand what the dynamic is right now. Is the dynamic ahead of the 2027 elections for the Obidient movement? Labour Party is saying they are not threatened about the fact that the Obidient movement intend to emasculate themselves from the Labour Party. How true are they that they indeed have grassroots identification when it comes to, grassroots identification of that political party? Mr. Elvis, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you.
All right, Mr. Elvis, let's speak on the situation with the Labour Party. Obviously, I don't know if you heard me read on the Labour Party affirming. Are you on speaker on your end, please? Kindly turn off your speaker phone. Mr. Elvis, if you're on speaker, turn off your speaker. Just use your normal listening device so that we don't have a sound back or a what do you call it? An echo at the back end.
I'm not on speaker. Is it
all
better
right.
now?
Yes, it's better now. So my question to you, Mr. Elvis, is this. For example, the Labour Party is saying they're not afraid of the immediate movement, leaving to ask you a question. What happened to the Labour Party? Is it true that maybe monies were collected by some party executives within the Labour Party that created the destabilization of the Labour Party during the tribunal, after the tribunal, in a situation that somehow the Obidient movement no longer resonates with the goals of the Labour Party? What's your take on that?
Yeah, Labour Party at this moment is going for extinction because the leaders of the Labour Party sold it off, After the Labour Party did so well in Lagos and Abuja during the 2023 general election, the ruling party...
Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Okay. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we lost you a bit there, but continue.
Yeah. We were able to make an inroad into Labour Party and from the top disorganize it to where we are now. So what we are seeing as Labour Party now is just like carcass. There is nothing in Labour Party any longer. The stem of Labour Party is actually the Obidients. And the Obidients, any moment they are going to withdraw their loyalty from Labour Party, and probably Obi is going to move on with Obidients, because without Obidients there is no Obi, and without Obi there is no Obidients. So they just anchor their glory with Labour Party, but Labour Party did not really understand or did not really appreciate the enormity of popularity and the profile, bringing their profile to a high level when they came into that party. So they are going to withdraw their loyalty and going to withdraw everything that has to do with Obidients and Labour Party. That relationship is going to end next.
But Meche Oswald is confirming that if the Obedient movement leaves the Labour Party, that the Labour Party will not feel their absence. That obviously the Labour Party has more of grassroots identification. That is, those at the grassroots level can actually easily identify with them than any factions created within the movement. So the big question is this: how do you think this will affect situations, especially for Peter Obi's political career? Is there a possibility, because if you have been noticing Peter Obi's movement lately, he has literally just been with his Obedient movement. We've not seen him wear the party logo in most of his philanthropic activities. He's been speaking as an individual, opposition political, as an individual. He's been speaking against this administration in terms of critiquing this administration as an individual, but not as a Labour Party member. So a lot of persons already see it is concerning as a supposed strong opposition party, that there is a tendency that a group of persons may establish a new political party, possibly the Obedient Movement political party, or Peter Obi may pitch his tent with an existing political party and creating a new force ahead of 2027. I mean, with what is up
his tent with probably another political party. Esther, let me tell you, that message, that statement by Labour Party that they have the grassroots movement or whatever, is just a mere flashy. It's just a face-saving threat. There is nothing, Esther. The only state they have, that is Abure State, just conducted their local government election time in November. Remember that even the sitting governor is already dead. That is even Abure State, where the sitting governor is a Labour Party governor. The only state they have.
And the sitting governor is a Labour Party governor. I don't understand.
Yes.
The sitting governor is a Labour Party governor. Are you referring to Abure State?
Yes, I'm referring to Abure State.
Okay.
Local government election that was conducted in Abure State that day.
Yes, it was all won by the Zenith Labour Party.
By Governor Lasoti. He went to Zenith Labour Party because Labour Party has no standing even in Abure State as we speak. So when you are hearing them in Labour Party making statement that they have grassroots movement, it's a mere fallacy. It's just a space-saving statement. There is nothing in Labour Party. Okay, every other local government election that was conducted around this nation, did you hear of Labour Party in any of the states? The glory Labour Party had in 2023 general election, is it reflecting in any of the local government election that went round in sometimes in November, October, November, December last year in all the states? Can you count any of it? That's to tell you that Labour Party is almost a same thing. Just look at the carcass. We are seeing carcass of Labour Party as we speak. There is nothing in it any longer.
Mr. Elvis Ali, where is Julius Abure? Where is Lamidi Akpakpa? Where is Arabambi? These were the persons that were very active and vocal during the tribunal. Even post the tribunal, after the Supreme Court gave its judgment, these individuals were very vocal until eventually Arabambi and Lamidi Akpakpa showed support towards Julius Abure. Now, you recall that the secretary of the Labour Party at the time had accused Julius Abure of huge financial infractions. At the time, Julius Abure denied all of these allegations against him. But there are speculations, specifically from critics and sources, that possibly undisclosed, that Julius Abure or other Labour Party executives may have been bought over with a huge amount of money to destabilize the Labour Party and discredit the party to weaken the strength of Peter Obi. Do you think there's any truth in this? Just because they've been quiet, is it possible that monies were collected, they have enriched themselves, and right now they are not challenging anything at all as an opposition party?
Esther, those names you mentioned, the Abures, the Arabambi, and the Lamidi Akpakpa, those are the people we should ask the big question: what has happened to Labour Party? At the end of 2023 general election, we saw that Lamidi Akpakpa and Arabambi were in a different fashion against Julius Abure. And even when we were going to court, we saw that Julius Abure, Lamidi Akpakpa was not in support of Obi's being in court against APC. You remember part of Obi being in court against APC. You remember when he was even insulted in the court, by some of Obidients that time. Turn around, that Lamidia Papa, Arabambi, and Julius Abure are now dining and whining on the same table against Peter Obi, who brought the glory to Labour Party in 2023 general election. So that's to tell you, Esther, that there's something amiss, within the Labour Party that they have not told us the truth. So Labour Party, most of those Labour ruling parties have brought Labour Party to its knees as we speak.
All right. So is there a possibility that unofficially, undisclosed, that maybe Peter Obi may pull out anytime soon or decamp to another political party or pitch his tent with another political party, just like what happened in Abure State, whereby we had an alternate party win the local government elections, which is the Zenith Labour Party? Do we see that in the works?
Well, if Obi can do his own work very well, Zenith Labour Party is a better opportunity for him to move to, because if you look at it, Zenith Labour Party was able to almost clear all the local governments in Abia State that day. If they can begin to work with Zenith Labour Party and begin to able to share a common ideology, I see Peter will be moving to such parties, with his Obidients group to try in 2027 general election.
Mr. Elvis, did you see what happened in Edo State during the tribunal, where the star witness for the People's Democratic Party almost got arrested today? The question is, why would a witness all of a sudden would want to be arrested? By who? Because the EFCC called and said that they were not responsible for the arrest of the star witness. They distanced themselves. So who were these individuals that wanted to take the star witness of the PDP at the tribunal, which commenced today? Also recall that there were thugs also at the center. Exactly what is this? What's the meaning of this?
Yeah, it's a very confusing situation in a state. I'm so ashamed of what is coming out from my state. The star witness, we saw them yesterday that they went to the EFCC. They said EFCC came to the hotel to arrest them because they don't want them to be in court. Unfortunately, EFCC, and I don't know the relationship between EFCC and APC and the election tribunal in Edo State. Nigerians have to ask them what is the relationship, what is the correlation, because if election is conducted and PDP has gone to court.
Mr. Elvis, the PDP are accusing the APC of sending thugs to disrupt the sitting of the Edo State Election Petition Tribunal.
Yes.
There were reports of gunshots fired near the venue of the Justice Wilfred Pochi-led 3-member Edo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. And this is the first day of the tribunal. So what is this? Why do we have such breakdown of law and order, such supposedly undemocratic attitude towards things as sensitive as election tribunal proceedings?
That's why I'm coming to Esther. It's a very frustrating situation, because it's even APC that says go to court if you feel agree. The political party PDP is in court, and you are now sending thugs to disrupt the court proceeding or whatever. It is a shame. We don't know how this government want to actually entrench democracy in Nigeria, because democracy thrives on justice, equity, and good conscience. Unfortunately, all these ones are being eroded under this present dispensation of democracy we have in Nigeria, the leadership of President Ahmed Tinubu. If you say go to court and somebody is in court, why will you be sending talk? If you know that the election, that the result that was announced by INEC is against your candidate, let the court do his job and let the truth, be thrown to the open for Nigerians to actually celebrate the democracy that we have at the moment. So I'm still confused. I'm still frustrated about what is actually going on with APC in Edo State at the moment.
All right, Mr. Elvis.
The governor can.
All right, we need to wrap up now. We have a program coming up very soon, but obviously we're going to have more of this conversation during the evening rush. So I sincerely do appreciate you as well. We're calling you later to give us your in-depth perspective to some of these controversial issues that we read out or on the World News at 6.
Thank you so much, Esther.
Thank you, Mr. Elvis. To wrap up here again are the top stories. Impeached South Korean president taken to detention center for questioning. President Tinubu Shetima governors celebrate Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Military bans drone use in northeast Nigeria meet security concerns. Mahdi Shehu arrested again by the DSS. APC speaks on Tinubu's involvement in Obasanjo's impeachment. That's a wrap on the world news at 6. My name is Esther Machuku. Good evening and thank you for listening.